Good evening. I'm Mr. Nieto, President of the Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees. This public hearing is being conducted in compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting have been posted online for at least 3 business days prior to the date of the meeting. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. The time is now 5:31 p.m. and when I will call this meeting to order, I will now begin the roll call. Mr. Sustaita is not here yet. Dr. Jaime?
Present.
Coach Cuellar?
Present.
Coach Serna?
Present.
And Mr. Mark de los Santos?
Present.
And myself, Mr. Nieto. The other two will probably come in a few minutes. Dr. Rivera?
Yes, up here to be like Mr. Robledo to present.
Good evening, board and the public, for hearing the public hearing for Schools Financials Integrity Rating System of Texas, or what everyone else knows it by FIRST. So today we're going to go over 25 slides, and I've been told that we really want to get to the next meeting, so we're going to kind of go through this. These items will also be posted on our website, so in case if anyone wants to just see the numbers a little bit more clear next time, it will always be out there. So the first thing that we do want to share is that for the performance report that we're talking about, that the district received a superior achievement rating. And so that's always a great deal for our school district, and it is something that we strive for every year. So now let's start getting into the details of that. So again, this started back in 1999. And in a sense, it was just to ensure to see how school districts are managing their funds. 4 levels. Superior achievement is a letter A. B is above standard. C, meets standard. And then the letter F, so for substandard achievement. So you're going to see about 21 different indicators. Some of them are a little bit different than others. So there's 4 of them that we call critical indicators. It's a pass or fail type of setup. They must be passed. If not, you get an F rating. Out of the 21, number 10 is not being reviewed this year, and that's for all school districts. You also have another type. Number 4, 6, 16, 17, 20, and 21 are what they call ceiling indicators. And there is a maximum for those points that are allowable for a school district. And so the majority of them are on a scale from 0 to 10. And so the idea is to at least get 90 points, and that's how you get your A or your superior achievement. The maximum points that is available is 100. So for this current submission, the district received 98. And so we'll talk about that one indicator that we lost those 2 hard to get points, and we'll go through that. So indicator number 1, again, the wording officially is going to be in black. I do have sometimes a indicator that, let me put it in my own words, and those are going to be in just the regular italics. You will then see what is our result. If I have at least 3 years worth, you'll see how each indicator for the past 3 years have gone. Some of them have only been alive for 2 years, so that's when you'll only see 2 items. So for every school year, the district has submitted their annual report within 30 days to TEA. So that has been happening every year. So we received that particular point. Was there a unmodified opinion for the financial statements? So I do want to kind of give a definition of unmodified. Unmodified is another way of saying a clean audit. And yes, for all past 3 years, we've been having a unmodified opinion or a clean opinion for our audit book. Was the school district in compliance with payment terms of all the debt 0.6 when you do that ratio, or I'm sorry, to be under 0.6. And so we've actually have a 0.51%. And so again, because it's less than 0.6, we do receive the maximum 10 points. Number 12, what is the correlation between future debt requirements and the assessed property values of the school district? So in other words, bonds divided by the value of all the properties within Weslaco ISD. And for the longest time, we never had to worry about this issue. So this year, it finally goes into effect, the bond that we received, or the public approved back in 2023. And so because it is over 4 for that particular type of correlation, we did lose those 2 points. But again, large bond compared to our property values. Number 13, was the school district's administrative cost ratio equal or less than the threshold? So the goal is that if you were to spend, let's pretend $1, the goal is that 8.55 cents would be paid for administration. For us, we spend less than that. We actually spend just a little over 7%, or 7 pennies in my little story. And so because of that, we're still way below than the threshold. We receive the full 10 points. Number 14, did the school district have or not have a 15% decline in students to staff ratio over 3 years? So total enrollment of our students divided by total staff of the school district. And so if that does occur, then in a sense, did it hit that 15% mark decline? Well, for the 23-24 school year, we actually grew. Again, we're coming back from COVID, so we did receive the full 10 points. Number 15, was the school district's ADA within the allotted range for the district's biennial pupil projections, which was submitted to TVA? And so the goal is to be within that 7% difference between what we submitted versus what actually happened. We were only off by 3.75, or even half of what the allotment allowed for. So because of that, we are receiving the full 5 points for that indicator. Number 16, did the comparison of PEIMS versus our audit book, was there at least less than 3% variance between the two? And so I'm proud to share our variance was 0 when you compare PEIMS versus what is on our audit book. Number 17, did the external independent auditor report that the audit book was free of instances of material weaknesses in internal controls for our local, state, or federal funds? So just like how our earlier one, we talked about the audit book, now it's going into the internal controls of the business office. And I'm proud to represent that there was no material weaknesses that were brought up, so we received those full points for that indicator. Number 18, did the auditors indicate that they were free, again, the report was free of any material non-compliance for grants, contracts, or laws for, again, for all of our local, state, or federal? I'm proud to present that we are lawfully following all the rules and regulations. And because of that, we receive the full 10 points. Number 19, did the school district post any and all required information on its website? And so we have been in compliance, and so because of that, we received the 5 points for that standard. Number 20, did the school district's administration and board members discuss changes that impact local, state, or federal funding at a board meeting at least 120 days before it adopted its budget. And so we have several budget workshops throughout the year. And so the idea is that we at least have one, but we have more than that. And so because of that, are we past the indicator? Number 21, did the school district receive an adjusted repayment schedule for an over allocation of our foundation monies? So these are the monies we get from the state. Since we are not having to do a repayment schedule because we estimated as close as we could to our actuals, there isn't any. So therefore, we passed that indicator. So those are the 21 indicators. Now, there is a few other extra items that we do have to share. And so one of the requirements is to actually provide a copy of our superintendent's report. We actually take it above and beyond, and we actually place it on our school website. So again, the superintendent's contract is out there. Appendix B, we now share all the reimbursements of the school district back to the superintendent and board members for when they go on trainings for their hours. And so the way I'm going to read it, again, you have the name, and we have 3 or 4 different indicators. How much was reimbursed for meals, lodging, transportation, and other. So I'm just going to read the name and the grand total for that. So for our superintendent, Richard Rivera, 0. Mr. Nieto, $954.28. Mr. Cuellar, $269.80. Dr. Rodriguez, $1,175.57. Mr. Ben Castillo, 0. Mr. De Los Santos, also 0. Mr. Serna, $831.44, and Ms. Sustaita, $1,202.30. And so we were to add them all together, $4,433.39. One of the items that we do have to disclose is if the board member or family members, if there was business transactions between them and the school district. Also on that item, it does ask if there is any disclosures or if you have a business that has to be disclosed. And so for business transactions, everyone did share 0. Dr. Rodriguez did share that he is the owner of Weslaco Vision Source. So again, he is disclosing it. If the superintendent has outside income, he does not. So again, he works solely for our school district. Another item that is presented to from the board to the public is that if there was any gifts to our superintendent or to any board member as of June 30th, 2025, and all have disclosed 0. And so just as a reminder, we received 98 out of the 100 points for this particular year. And so again, it's all because of the hard work of the business office, all the different persons that submit bills, that's how we get those paid. And so again, it's a team effort. And that is the presentation.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that Mrs. Sustaita and Mr. Ben Castillo came in at 5:40, even though we don't have to have a quorum, but they came in at 5:40. Questions for either Dr. Rivera or Mr. Robredo? I know Jackie walked in late, so let me start with Mark. Mark, any questions?
Not this time. Thank
Oh,
you for the
there we
report.
go.
Great job to everyone.
Conserva? Mr. Ben Castillo?
Just good job to everyone.
There we go.
All right. Coach Grant?
Well done.
Thank you, sir.
And Dr. Henry?
Great job to the team.
Thank you.
And Mrs. Sustaita?
Likewise, thank you.
Perfect.
So I have one question.
Yes.
So if, say, we wouldn't have passed the bond, that particular, we would have gotten those 2 points and we would have gotten the 100, correct?
Yes, that is correct. Okay.
So, excellent job. Dr. Rivera, excellent job. All right. At this time, public comments on financial integrity, rating system of Texas First Schools First Performance Report. If anybody has any public comments that you would like to come up and state, you may. Second time, anybody? And third time. So you all saw the presentation, so we're in excellent financial stability, so we'll go forward. Adjournment. All right, are we ready for the board meeting? All right, here we go. Good evening, I'm Isidro Nieto, President of Weslaco ISD Board of Trustees. This regular board meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Texas Open Meeting Act. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 3 business days prior to the date of the meeting. A recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. It is 5:50, and I will call this meeting to order. I will now begin the roll call. Mrs. Sustaita?
Present.
Dr. Hyman?
Present.
Coach Cuellar?
Present.
Mr. Castillo?
Present.
Coach Serna?
Present.
And Mr. Martin Santos?
Present.
And Mr. Nieto, present. We have full quorum today, or a full board. Invocation, Dr. Rivera.
I call Mr. Elias Trevino.
Would you be so kind to bow your heads and let us pray? Gentlemen, if you're wearing a hat, would you just remove it, please, in reverence to the Lord. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, our Lord Jesus Christ, how great and mighty you are. We honor and magnify your holy name. God, in all situations, at all times, you are good. Nothing compares to you, and there is no one like you. You are worthy of all glory, honor, and praise, simply because you are. We are humbled that we get to know you. Father, we humbly implore that your heavenly mercy, strength, and peace be upon the family and friends of Larissa Nicole Rodriguez. The passing of a loved one is a very painful experience, most especially when their entire life is ahead of them. May your peace that passes all understanding flood their hearts and minds at this very moment. Father, as is always our petition, we ask you to continue to bless and grant greater wisdom to our superintendent, Dr. Richard Rivera, and our board. Thank you for their leadership and heart. May your will be done in our board meetings. Help us always to maintain integrity in what you have left in our care. Help us always to be focused on the betterment of boys and girls in Weslaco ISD. We honor you by protecting and educating them. As we enter the fall season, let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap a harvest of blessings. Please heal us of any anger, bitterness, unforgiveness, or ingratitude that may dwell in our hearts. May we exhibit your love, humility, and kindness towards others. Begin that work in me. We ask you all this in your precious, glorious, and mighty name of Jesus. And everyone says, amen. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Elias. Pledge of Allegiance, Dr. Rivera.
Mr. Butterman, can you lead us?
Good evening, everyone. At this time, we'd ask everyone to please stand, place their right hand over their heart, and face the United States flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'd ask everyone to please remain standing, right hand over their heart, and face the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee. Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Butterman. Number 5, awards and recognitions, proclamations, Dr. Rivera.
Mr. Carlos Robledo.
Board President.
ADA of 95, Mary Hogue Middle School. For our high schools, Hidalgo County Boot Camp, 100 ADA. An ADA of 99, JJAEP. An ADA of 95, Weslaco High School. And an ADA of 96, South Palm Gardens High School. Where's Weslaco? Okay. We also have ADA of Weslaco East High School. 94. We'll continue with our proclamation. Okay.
Dr. Rivera, to the principals, congratulations. Of course, congratulate your staff that worked so hard on making sure that we have good ADA, and this is probably one of the better ADAs that we've had in quite a while. You know, that means that students are school learning, and of course, we're getting additional money when they're here on campus every day at the end of the year. So, Dr. Rivera, you and your staff, and central office staff, of course, and of course the principals, and especially because this month is Principals Month. So to all of you, the principals, great job. Continue to do the job that you do, and you have our total support from the board. Thank you. Okay, Carlos.
Yes, sir. We continue on with our proclamation. Weslaco Independent School District has a long-standing tradition of excellence and strives to bring together all resources to provide our students and staff with the best opportunities for success. To that end, Weslaco ISD acknowledges, celebrates initiatives, departments, and organizations that join in our effort to develop, expand, and enrich our learning environment for students, parents, and employees. Therefore, Isidoro Nieto, President of the WISD Board of Trustees, does hereby proclaim November 2025 National Family Literacy Month, National Scholarship Month. We also proclaim November 2025 Parental Involvement Day, November 20th, Bullying Prevention Week, November 10th through the 14th. And we also continue to celebrate National Principals Month this month, Texas Free College Application Week, October 13th through the 19th, in Weslaco ISD, and urge all citizens to recognize with appreciation our district's commitment to education and helping our children achieve their highest potential. Signed, Isidoro Nieto, President, WISD Board of Trustees. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Is that it?
Yes.
All right. That's it for today. That was quick. All right, let's continue on. Number 6, public comments.
There is one.
Okay. Edward, it says here Avila. Yes, correct? Yes. All right. Come up to the podium and Dr. Jaime will read you some procedures to follow.
Good evening.
State your address and first, your name and your address.
Hello, my name is Edward Avila. My address is 4413 J.A. Garcia, Mercedes, Texas.
Thank you.
Mr. Avila, pursuant to the Texas Open Meeting Act, the Board of Trustees may not deliberate on any comment made by a member of the public on a subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of this meeting. As per the Texas Attorney General, the scope of board discussion for a subject not part of the meeting agenda is limited to only proposal by a board member to place the subject on a future board agenda. Specific factual information or recitation of existing policy may be furnished in response to inquiries, but the board shall not deliberate or decide regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Audience participation at a board meeting is limited to the portion of the meeting designated for that purpose. At all other times during a board meeting, the audience shall not enter into discussion or debate on matters being considered by the board unless recognized by the presiding officer. No public comment presentation shall exceed 3 minutes. Any disruptive behavior by any speaker may result in the speaker's removal from participation in the meeting. Please be mindful of using names or personally identifiable information, as there is no immunity from defamatory comments while participating in public comments. You got 3 minutes, and I'll start the timer when you start your presentation, sir.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate your time. Now, quick story. I used to work with you guys, or at least I believe I'm still working with you guys. You guys can review that. That's up to you. I sent out some information to you guys. I asked you guys to go ahead and review it. That's up to you. Where I stand right now, it's a yes or a no. You let me know. Now, one of the best stories that I had when I was working with you guys is, excuse me, sorry, is when I was working with the children. I had an opportunity to work with children from pre-K all the way up through high school, right? And I taught at the university, so I do have the background for it. Working with second graders, when the little ones literally turn around and wanted to learn, that was so cool, I'll be honest. But that being said, one of the experience I had with doing that is I drew a picture on the board and I asked the children to go ahead and show me what they want. So they explained, you know, children, second grade, they all want to tell you at the same time, right? So I gave them a chance to raise their hands, wrote first, second, last, which gave them an opportunity to understand the structure of writing, which at the end of the day, they literally gave me a full story, and they all participated, and they loved it. So that's one of my better experiences while I worked with you guys as a substitute. That being said, I looked at law school. I went through law school. I'm not finished with law school. I still have an opportunity to move forward. To move forward, I need your guys' help. So, given the opportunity, when you get a chance, review the paperwork. Please, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. We will continue. Item 7, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Rivera.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Nieto. Let me start on page 2, the student enrollment. Last year, around the same time, the enrollment was 16,276. This October, we have reduced it to 16,116. So there's a difference of 160 students. So at a 95% ADA, right now we're less $1.3 million had we had the same attendance as we had last year. So there is a difference, and I can tell you there's several reasons, and probably one is an immigration scare. Parents are afraid to send their kids to school. There's also a lot of charter school competition, and our goal is to be second to no one. Now, we are losing kids, but just about every district in the valley is losing students. So again, the principals do a very good job, and the ADA, and we're trying to get these students back to Weslaco ISD. On page 3, as was discussed earlier, this is the first 6 weeks attendance report with the enrollment plus the ADA. So this was done already. You can see that the standard for the elementary schools is 96%, and I'm proud to say that just about every school was able to attain this goal for the first 6 weeks. It will become difficult throughout the year because of different factors, but for the first 6 weeks, it was excellent. You can see Collector Hill. In red, you can see the difference in enrollment. Collector Hill last year was 903. As of this date, it was 897, but they had the ADA of 98%. Memorial, there's a difference from 1,1105 to 1064, 97.7. Margot actually gained enrollment from 1,087 to 1,110, the ADA 97.6. Seedville Elementary, last year enrollment 695, present at this date was 634, so it's less than last year, ADA 97.3. Sam Houston last year 745, this year about the same 741, the ADA 97.0. Gonzales 554 last year the enrollment, this year they decreased to 541, the ADA is yes, 96.7. Rico, last year enrollment 777. Red, a little decline, saying 52. 96.5 is the ADA. Airport, last year 785. At this date, 741. ADA 95.8. North Bridge, last year 768. At this date, 762. 95.7. And Ibarra, last year 503. This year, 562 again, 95.4. Again, I want to commend all the schools here because they do an excellent job attaining this standard. The next page are the middle schools. The middle school, Central Middle School, last year it was 1,061. They've reduced by a few students, 1051, 96.3. The goal here is 95%. Elementary 96, middle schools 95. Big Garza last year 915, this year 928, a slight increase. The ADA 96.1. Mary Hogue last year 828, this year they lost students 769, 94.6. Coel Middle School last year 644, This year, 644, the same, 94.2. Again, I want to commend the principals, the staff, because any middle schools throughout the valley and state, they're not anywhere near our 95%. So again, I commend the principals, the teachers, the staff, everyone for their hard work. The secondary schools, we mentioned the boot camp. Last year we had 11 students. This year we have 16, and they're all present. We send kids to boot camp whenever there's disciplinary reasons. And this school is in Weslaco. JJP, also disciplinary. Last year we had 11. This year we have 8, and we have almost 100% attendance. South Palm Gardens last year, 72 students. This year 68, 95.7. The goal here is 94%. Weslaco High School, last year the enrollment 2698. This year they're higher, 2762. The ADA 94.7. So they met the standard. Weslaco East, last year 2072. They've lost some students, 93.6, and that's all rounded off as 94. So again, good job to our high schools too. I'm real proud of all the schools, the parents, the students, the teachers, everyone for the job they do with the ADA. On page 6, we have to report this annually, the bilingual ESL annual program evaluation report. Our bilingual ESL program is an annual requirement in accordance with the TEA code. Summary of the program: 24% of Weslaco ISD students are identified as emergent bilinguals and are serviced in either our early exit transitional program or through ESL classes. 48% of the emergent bilingual students that met growth on the Texas Language Proficiency or TELPAS. 61% of the bilingual students performed or approaches performance level or higher in the STAR and EOC exams. Weslaco ISD trained 344 teachers throughout the year by offering 77 professional development sessions. We continue to monitor teacher certification and work with HR to submit waivers when needed. We don't do this very, very often. On page 7, there's some update on campus roofing projects. The roofs at Collector Hill and Tony Rico. These are part of the bond election that we had. We're addressing all the roofs for all the schools in need, and this is a need in a priority list. And again, the B is the funding was the bond proposition A. We should have these schools complete by December, this coming December, and then we're looking at pending bond projects in the next few months for B Garza, Mary Hogue Central, a section of Margot. So these are the next schools in line as we do the roofs, again from the bond election that was passed by the citizens of Weslaco. On page 8, this is also a part of the bond election, Proposition C. At Weslaco High, our tennis courts are in bad shape. And again, you can see that on the agenda tonight is under consent to approve the ranking, and the funding source again is the bond election. Hopefully we'll finish by April of this school year. Again, they're in bad shape, and again, the bond elections, the citizens voted to help us with this. And again, this is a start on other courts throughout the district. On page 9, this is an update on student restrooms improvement. It's on the agenda tonight under consent to rank the proposals. The approximate completion date is a year from this coming December. And throughout the year, we'll show you the progress that are made on these schools. On page 10, this is the update on the Weslaco High School track resurfacing. The substantial completion was already approved. And then the fund source, again, was the bond proposition C. A beautiful track at Weslaco East High School. On page 11, I'm going to give you an update on the food, on the cafeteria, food and nutrition. We've added the Asian food line. These are dishes now available in all secondary schools. We do have the supper program available to high school kids in elementary. These meals are offered at no cost, and we do these for all students participating in after-school enrichment or education programs, but also available to all boys and girls aged 18 and under. The lunch program has increased slightly from last year to this year, from 76% to 79%. On, on page 12, this is the preliminary fund balance. It's preliminary. We will not know the final figures until we have the annual audit report. But the beginning fund balance was 71,553,000. Now, the fund balance assigned to child nutrition is 13,085,000. So I subtracted that, and you can see the fund balance now is 59,268,000, but 7.5 million is already earmarked for additional one-time projects throughout the district. And I've given you a list of those projects that we're doing with this fund balance. So the 3-month reserve, again, this is the preliminary, is 51,750,000. TA recommends a 3-month reserve. We're one of the few districts that maintain the 3 months reserve. And any amount that we have over the 3 months, we go back with the board to address these for one-time expenses. And the fund balance is earning interest, 3.5 million from that amount, and we use it to either help fund that budget for that year, or use this money for facilities that are needed throughout the year. On the bottom, there's something new. We just received this yesterday. TA sent a notice to all school districts indicating a revised submission deadline for all annual financial reports. The date now is February 17th. It used to be November. But so now our yearly audit report will not be given to you in November until February. And the reason is that the federal guidelines for the grants, the auditing has not been finalized. This is from TA. So it's not just Weslaco, it's all the districts throughout the state. And TA has not updated the module for districts to upload the financial reports. So normally in November, we present the audit, but because TA sent us this letter, we're now going to present this to you in February. But I will keep you probably on notice every single month on how we're doing. Again, this is the preliminary fund balance. The financial report will show the budget for 24-25, and that's the one that will be on this financial on this audit report. On page 13, this is the budget for this year, 25-26. The board approved the revenues in July of 223,224,000. The board also approved the expenditures of the same amount. The goal is for this year not to spend more than what we have. So we do not want to spend more than 223 because there are no new state monies. So the plan during the year, we already started this. The plan is to reduce B so we can use the savings from B for the budget for next year. So we're looking to improve staff attendance. We have a lot of staff members that they're absent quite a bit. They have 10 days. So the last year there was a big increase in our budget for substitutes. We're looking to reduce overtime expenses. The ADA is based on 14,500. The goal is to go 14,600. I want to say that for the first 6 weeks, preliminary, we're above the 14.5. So that's good news. But the goal is to have the ADA at 14.6 to bring the additional $1 million into the district. So due to student enrollment decline, no unbudgeted positions will be added to the budget. I'm trying to reduce the budget, not increase the budget, because we do have less students. I mentioned almost 200 students less than last year. And again, if we're able to do this to reduce the budget, then whatever revenues are there will be earmarked for one-time projects. We still have a lot of one-time projects that are needed throughout the district. And my last slide is we're already planning ahead for 26-27. We have 3 budgets actually, the 24-25 that will do the audit, the budget for this year, 25-26, and then we're already looking ahead for 26-27 because TA On A, expecting no new state monies for school districts. So the following year is when the monies hopefully will come back again with new monies. So it's gonna be a tight budget for 26-27. Again, no new state monies. On B, House Bill 2 provided to the districts, to Weslaco, $13,900,000, contingent on the ADA of 14.5. If we are less than that at the end of the year, that money will be reduced. The goal here is to increase the 14.5 to 14.6 or higher. So for next year, we're getting the same amount of money again. We're getting $13,900,000 to go ahead to contingent on ADA. We're getting this money again just to maintain the expenses, the pay raises that were given and other amounts that were given. So we're getting the same amount of money again if we attain the ADA 14.5. So far in our calculations, we have, right now we have, if we're able to do this, we'll have a surplus to begin 26-27 with 5.9 million. An additional from the interest in our fund balance, this should be an additional 3.5 million. So overall, we plan to have at least $9 million right now to start the budget for 26-27. The goal again is to reach the ADA, not to spend more than what we have budgeted. So that's, again, that's the goal for 26-27. Difficult, but not impossible. Because again, we're expecting no one in the state is going to get new monies from the state except if the enrollment increases or decreases. So again, all of us, and with the board support, all of us are working to balance the budget for this year and to have money left over to start the budget for 26-27. So, Mr. Nieto, board member, this is my report. Do you have any questions on any of these slides?
Thank you, Dr. Vera. Good presentation. I'll start on the left over here. Mrs. Staita, any questions on the
No, none.
superintendent's
I'm good.
report?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Dr. Jaime?
Just comment, thank you for, it's a lot of information. Thank you for all that information, Dr. Rivera, and you always update us, but there's always things going on behind the scenes, and great job, and to all the campuses and working on the ADA. That's where, kids being in school, that's when they're gonna learn. So great job to everyone, Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jaime. Coach Guerra?
Echo the same sentiment, and we talked about it before. We know what the challenges are, and you can only control what you can control, but keep doing what you're doing. And Dr. Rivera, you still have the ball. You're running well with it.
Yes.
Keep it going.
Thank you, Coach.
Mr. Ben Castillo?
Yes, sir. Again, kind of expressing the same sentiments as the other trustees. I have a couple of questions with respect to the audit on page 12. Are we a September or June budget?
June 30th.
June.
And that letter applies to everybody, whether you're September or June?
It applied to all 1,000 school districts.
That's the first I hear of it. Can you send that to the board?
Yes.
I can send it to the superintendent, the letter we
Can you
got
do it
from
right now?
TEA, and
Can
Yeah,
you
I
do it
just like
right
to
now?
look
Just
at
send
it.
electronically. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's.
We
that's-
received this Friday.
yes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's,
But yeah, I know there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with the federal government and stuff, and it does make sense, but yeah, just for my peace of mind, if I can read
yes.
it. And then on page 13, on the reduction of ineffective district programs, when you guys work through that, are you gonna share any of that information with the board?
Yes,
with
exactly.
respect to the reduction?
We will let you know. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I think we'd like to be informed on what we're planning to cut and not cut, because if we do get the calls.
Yes.
And so that would be great. Our high schools are pretty big.
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, Weslaco High is almost 3,000, and then East is at 2,000.
About 2,800, I think.
One day we'll need a third high school.
That's a lot to manage, so good job to both of you guys. And great job on the ADA. I know you guys do a great job of making students feel welcome. My kids are a recipient of that. They like going to school, so I appreciate you guys as principals for doing that, and your teachers. So please tell them thank you for me, and thank you, Doc, for all the hard work that you and your staff are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Coach Serna?
Again, I echo what everyone's saying, so up to this point, But I was gonna ask about the tennis courts at the, as part of the superintendent report.
Yes.
I know it's gonna be resurfaced, correct, just to get it clear, but is there anything gonna be done to the canopies for the students? The canopy area, is there a canopy gonna be? Just to clarify, I mean,
So we're gonna do, we're looking at the windscreens and the canopy as well.
oh, you are, that's part of the project, along, of course, the resurfacing? Okay, yeah, I just wanted to,
Fencing as well. Yeah, we except the posts, because if we mess with the posts, we're gonna have to dig deeper, and then it's gonna create more.
you're talking about the fence post?
For the fence
Yes.
posts, right.
But the surfacing is gonna be
Right,
adequate, or above adequate, yes?
yes.
Weslaco East, the track at Weslaco East, is that already, everything's good with that? Everything turned out pretty good?
We're just finalizing it and trying to close it out, because there was some additional work because of the ADA that was required for the inspector. And so we're just trying to close it out by having those ADA requirements done. But the track itself is finished.
Okay. No, that was it. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. De Los Santos?
Yes, just a little bit about the restrooms. I know I'm glad you all talked about it, presented it, but can we just talk about the scope, just so the public can hear? Because I know I've had calls about restrooms at elementary schools and things of that nature, and I know it's part of our bond projects, but just so that at least they can kind of hear what's gonna happen, and is it like a full tile replacement, tear down and redo, or just so that the public can know?
Yes, absolutely. Good evening, members
Staff.
of the board. Yeah, so we're doing for Margot and Bigarza for the existing student restrooms, and that's throughout the campus, including at the nurses station. We're doing a complete remodeling, well, I should say renovation of the restrooms, and in some instances, especially Bigarza remodeling, because we're having to switch the boys and girls restrooms as they are right now to be able to meet the numbers per requirements, code requirements. Bigarza is going to have an additional set of restrooms added to the cafeteria, and then again, that's to meet the numbers per code according to the architect.
Nice. Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah, but we're going with everything, tiles, partitions, and the plumbing and everything.
Right, thank you. The second one I had was on the slide on finances. Thank you, Dr. Rivera, on your transparency and sharing the numbers and the situation, kind of where our district's at. And I just did want, I was gonna pull the item, but I guess we can talk about it here. I just did want to talk about, I was curious, and I was just curious about as far as our state allotment and funding that's expected. That was it, because you have a summary of finance report that's public knowledge, and for that is, for people that don't know what that SOF is, it pretty much tells you state funding that your school district is expecting, from preliminary numbers to then what they call NF, or near final, and then final. And that number always increases, thank God, right? Usually it's going up. So I see what was posted here and discussed, and as far as expected revenue, I guess my main message here is kind of, I know we're looking at an ADA, right? I'm going to change up kind of my approach on how I was going to do this, but I know we're looking at ADA and increasing all these things, and like I said, Dr. Rivera, you and your staff is doing a good job at addressing the issue, just like every other district, probably in the whole country. And I know that the standards, like for reporting, got extended, okay? I know we were supposed to remember we were supposed to meet in November again and have this discussion. Cool. And now that's been changed because of the OMB reporting, right? And for what that is, I think they call it something 2.0. Right, the system's called 2.0, where they're gonna report into a new system that the federal government is requiring, so that's now extended. I don't have a concern anymore, right? I met with Dr. Rivera, we've talked and whatnot and everything, and he has an excellent plan. So my only thing is to wrap up 24-25, right? We finish that general ledger, reconcile what you need to reconcile and those things, and so that we can kind of figure out where we're at. And then that way, I just want him to have all the resources and the exact facts once we knock out that 24-25. And I know he already has it anyways. So we all can pivot as a board together. Because one of the things that we talk about, I'm gonna bring it up here, is that there's populations out there, other than our students, but our staff. I'm gonna talk about staff here for a minute. There's populations out there that sometimes, going back to 21, 22, Mr. Aguilar, you were there more than anybody else, and we talked about saving up funds in the fund balance and moving people into ESSER and doing all those things and trimming down the structure of the district, the whole board at the time that was there. And there's a population out there right now, like I said, that has historically been understaffed, right? Our maintenance, our custodians, our transportation, nutrition, our hourly staff on campuses, paras and support staff that campuses have. And so our non-exempt, our hourly staff, I understand cutting overtime is very important. And I'm not gonna over talking about anybody's strategy because that's a good strategy, but I as a trustee am okay if we need to use unrestricted fund balance to cover a gap, right? It's a gap that everybody's getting affected by. Only because they've been historically understaffed in our district, which is kind of rare. Most districts are the opposite, but this one has been like that for decades. But at this time, I would say as a trustee, I would support the superintendent and his staff that if they need to dip into our unrestricted fund balance to continue to operate at 100% so that our students are served properly and that our staff is protected. I don't want people to overwork themselves, or cause injuries or things like that of that nature. I would be supportive of that as a trustee. That's something I wanted to announce.
We can do that.
Yeah, that
We'll
if
study
you
it.
need to, if you feel you need to, you have my support 100%.
Thank you.
Because I know that at the end of the day, not only are we going to be academically successful, but we can smell that A rating, right? And that's the goal. And so that's just something I wanted to discuss today. Okay? So thank you.
We'll study it.
Thank you, Mr. Los Santos. A lot of good points from all trustees, of course, from Mr. Los Santos. Any others? Mr. Castillo? You had one more?
I did.
Yeah.
Man, you're a good board president. You read my mind. I forgot to bring up the supper program.
Okay.
On the nutrition side, which is great. I'm glad that we have it, but can we promote it?
Yes.
Because I think that'd be a good resource to our families here in Weslaco. Yeah, if we could promote that, that'd be awesome.
Mr. David, let's do that. Mr. Romero? Let's meet tomorrow on it.
All right, that's all I got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the comments, and thank you, Dr. Rivera, for continuing to do an excellent job with our finances.
Thank you.
Okay, let's continue with number 8, Lone Star Governance. Dr. Rivera.
Yes. Let me call Ms.
8A, discussion on the Lone Star Governance Board monitoring calendar for October 2025. Mrs. Solano, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Hi, good evening, Board President, Board Trustees, and members of the community. So this month, in our LSG presentation, we will be reporting our kinder through second grade NWEA map, beginning of the year results. Mr. David Robledo already went over the CPM, which was the public hearing that he presented at the beginning of the meeting, so I'll focus on the academic portion of the report. So the first slide that we see here is we wanted to update everyone, and I know our principals and teachers, our instructors have gone through this training, but this year, NWEA map for the 2025 updated the norms. So last year we would always present, if they're at the 60th percentile, it equals to a meets performance. This year, that was a 2020 COVID norms. They did a new study with over 14 million students, and now the norms, as you see, it's not necessarily at the 60th percentile. For example, in math, that first table to the left, you will see that at the meets performance, in order to be considered at the meets performance in the fall, you're required to get any or rank anywhere between the 78th percentile to the 94, right? And then the winter it's differently, spring is differently. Unlike math, you will see that reading stayed very consistent with anywhere very small minimal dip, 59 to 88, 58 to 87, and 58 to 84. So this is based on the new norms after COVID. They decided to revisit the norms and say what percentile ranking is equivalent to each performance level in STAR. So if you are a parent, teachers, right, you send parent reports out, you should be able to see your parent, your student's record, and it should tell you what percentile ranking, and it also says your child is likely to have scored approaches, meets, masters in the STAR if they would have taken the test. So I just wanted to keep everyone informed of the new norms. So the first goal 1, looks at all the language arts. So here in this slide, instead of, again, at the 60th percentile, now to be at the meets performance level for kinder, first, and second, and we align this to third grade, as third grade is the goal, right, that we want to achieve. Each grade level is at the 59th percentile. So for kinder, you see that the beginning of the year data is showing that 39% of our kinder students district-wide are already scoring at the meets percent or above, right? Our goal for end of the year is 54%, right? Then you see in first grade, 37% of our first graders are already scoring at the meets performance grade level or above, and the end of the year target is 46 for first graders. Second grade, if you notice, second grade in language arts, they're scoring the beginning of the year, this is third weekend, which we're really proud of. 43% of the second graders currently are already performing at the meets performance level or above, and their end of the year target is a 51. This year for third grade in general, which is the goal that we aim to impact, right, with this data positively, third graders, their target is 56. So that is the reading language arts, and you do see the table by populations, whether it's our ECO-DIS, which is very similar to our all-student group, our bilingual students, or our special education students in comparison to the all-student group and their end-of-the-year target as well. So that is the language arts district-wide. If you notice on the next slide, you will then see it by grade level, kinder, first, second. You will see their beginning of the year data, but broken down by campus. So you will see that some campuses have either already met or are close to meeting the end of the year target, right? You know, language arts looks very promising. I will say it's very strong data for a beginning of the year administration. We compared it to other years as well. So we're very happy with what we're seeing in the language arts classrooms and data overall district-wide. And you will see, you know, some campuses, and I'll point out, you will have your memorial, that's right there, right? In all three grade levels, you have your Kleckler Health, Sam Houston, Selva, very promising numbers, Rico, you know, and then all of our campuses, our other campuses are really tied in a very high percentage, contributing to the district overall scores for RLA. So for RLA, as a district, in the observations and the support that we have provided, one of the things that, and again, this is considering this is the third week of school when students were testing, right? One of the things that we're noticing and we're seeing is we are seeing great fidelity to the adoption, right? So that's our tier 1 resource during the schedule block. We are seeing also 2 more instructional administrative leaders in the PLCs, planning with teachers, which is one of the things that we have identified as a great improvement this year. And we are also seeing more explicit instruction, which is the I do, we do, you do, more time, you know, for the learner to have be exposed, you know, to show their work. What needs more attention, and one of the things that we're working on, either towards PD or collaboration through PLCs, it's with our general ed teachers, with our special ed teachers, right? As our special ed education is extremely important to make sure that our resource or inclusion students get the same quality education when they move into those classrooms. Also, we are seeing that math is taking the momentum, right, of PLC, of planning, as we have a new adoption this year. So we just want to make sure that PLC time is consistent and equitable, right, for timing purposes with all content areas. And also, we know early childhood, we need a strong phonological curriculum at the early grade levels. It's critical that students know how to read and learn to read, right, so that they can comprehend well and do amazing in their upper grade years. So that's RLA. Goal 2, we move on to mathematics. So in mathematics, you will see, and based on the new norms table that I started with, you notice that the new norms for mathematics increased to 78% versus the ranking that we would share last year of a 60th percentile, right? So the new norms are at the 78th. So you see that in mathematics, we are seeing, and I put last year's cohort of data that we presented, but at the new norms, so that you could see in comparison what 1 year and 2 years of students looks like worth of data, right? But the dark purple are kindergartners. For mathematics, 22% are at that meets performance level or above. For first grade, 15%, and for second grade, 11% are at the meets performance level or above. And you see that their targets for kinder is 56, for first grade is 51, and for second grade is 48. And the third grade overall target, which is the grade level that we wish to impact and beyond, is 53 at the meets performance level and above, right? So very different from our RLA, right? And MAP in their study of the cases saw that this had a lot to do, and they saw it throughout the subject areas, where some subject areas were stronger than the others, mathematics being the one that shifted downward as well. With a lot of the COVID, if you remember, a lot of the COVID online classes and stuff, it was very hard to do hands-on work with manipulatives, which your HQIM materials now all have those opportunities to have a hands-on approach, right? Students illustrating, doing, drawing what they're learning. So next slide, we will see that here you have them by campuses. So you will see in the next slide, kinder, first, and second grade, right, where their target is, which is that red dotted line for the end of the year, and where the campuses are at the beginning of the year, the third week of school, at the meets performance level for mathematics, right? Very different from RLA, as you can see. We have work that needs to be done, but in the next slide you will see, right now for kinder, and I'll focus on the blue bullets, as the black one is exactly the same for first and second, but we are seeing instructional routines and structures aligned in every kinder classroom. So if you were to go into this campus, go into the others, or students move, mobility, right, students would be offered exactly the same routines and structures, the same curriculum. Also, using math manipulatives is huge with this adoption, and that's one of the things that we appreciate the most, as everything comes with the adoptions and everything's delivered to the teacher and given to them. Also, one of the things that we need more attention on is making sure that, yes, we have beginning of the year data, but any other data that we're collecting through walkthrough, it's regular, consistent progress monitoring, as we know that this is the subject area that, it's a challenge, or has been a challenge, right? And again, it's a new adoption, new curriculum for our teachers, kinder through Algebra 1, so staying true to our pacing guide, our scope and sequence is critical. Right? Sometimes we tend to stay behind, so catching up and identifying those teachers and helping them out, supporting them is critical. What's working for first and second grade, we are seeing Bluebonnet implementation and components almost in every classroom. We have had immense support from Region 1, from our CNI team in the classrooms, from the leadership teams at the campuses. A lot of instructional rounds have happened, and we're seeing good implementation of this. Again, consistent fluency and problem-solving routines are in practice in all kinder through Algebra 1 classrooms. And then again, students use the read, draw, write problem-solving model. Again, that learning opportunity for them to show their work. What needs more attention, using that beginning of the year data to really prescribe the prescription for each student, right? Knowing that we shared the data, we've done something with the data, and consistently monitoring it into the next checkpoint. Strengthening student-to-student discussion. I know Region 1 has shared some findings, making sure students are speaking, right? They're talking to other students about what they're learning. And then letting them struggle, productive struggle. Sometimes it's okay, because that's the only way you're going to identify a misconception and address it, right? Through the productive struggle, right? Demonstrating what they understand. That is our Goal 1 and Goal 2 report. Mr. Nieto, if you have any questions for the trustees.
Trustees, Mrs. Susaita, any questions on the presentation?
Sure. I don't have the screen in front of me. Can we put it back on the reading?
The district or the campuses?
The district.
District, okay.
Right here.
Yes.
Okay. I know we didn't turn in our questions that we were supposed to on Friday, so I was actually just looking at all this information, but I didn't email the questions. But my question is, I'm looking at the 2026 targets, and I see students in Hispanics, economically disadvantaged, emergent bilingual, special ed. Now, I went into TEA's ratings just to see how does it work getting that, the methodology with the 3 domains and how do we even come up with our student outcomes at the very end? Because I really wanted to understand, what are we doing? What are we asking? Because I feel like we're asking the same questions every month. How are we going to do this? What are we going to do different? What's working? It's kind of the same questions that we're asking every month, right? So last year I went to all our goal progress measures last year, and we didn't hit any of them. I mean, we were close, but in all our goal progress measures, we didn't hit the targets at the end of the year. So right now we're only 2 months into the school year. I want to make sure that we do better this year, even though we're doing great. I mean, you guys are doing an awesome job, but we can always get better, right?
Most definitely.
So I noticed that closing the gaps is the domain that we struggle with the most.
Yes.
And it's so complicated because the way I understood it, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm trying to understand all this, is this why we have the, economically disadvantaged, emergent bilingual, the ethnicities?
Yes.
Does TEA use that to compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges?
Yes, ma'am. In Domain 3, Closing the Gaps has a percentage or a target for each of these populations, and that's how we base the targets. And most of Domain 3 looks at the meets performance level. That is why our goals are based on that meets performance. So that is, we could be presenting approaches, but we don't want to present on something that's not going to impact on that third domain, which is that.
And that's exactly what I was going to ask you next. These are the targets that the 2026 targets are the ones that TEA has said this, class or whatever subgroups, this is the target for them.
Right, so each of the directors looked at the targets and studied them to make sure that it doesn't put a campus in a predicament. Yes.
Okay, and then I also noticed how TEA gives us points that if 1 year a child gets meets, the next year, if he gets meets or no, let's just say it was approaches. The next year he gets approaches again or higher, we get a point. But if they go down, then we don't,
So
right?
if they maintain or improve their rating, we get a point.
Right.
If they regress, we get 0 points. And it hits us in Domain 3. Yes.
Okay, so that's what I was all day long. I went through a rabbit hole and studied it all day long. So my question is here for the targets that we're supposed to be at for each group. And here's the question stem. What are we doing that is working that we can replicate with the groups who need more help?
So a lot of progress monitoring. So the schools that showed great success right at the end of the year when we presented in the summer had a lot of frequent progress monitoring, intentional POCs, which I think, and the principals can correct me if I'm wrong, but with the Region 1 instructional rounds, even what we're doing with math can obviously be cross-curricular. If done with fidelity in all other subjects and replicated, we can tremendously impact this score right here. Because RLA is doing tremendously with the meets performance targets already at that percent, right? They're very close to the target, to the end of the year target at the beginning of the year. Okay. So, yes.
So it's math, the one that's we're having. And now my thing is I have TikTok, I see stuff on the Blue Bonnet, and there's all these little videos of teachers coming up saying, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. And of course it is, it's the first year, everyone's using it. But by when will we kind of know, okay, it's working, it's not working, maybe we should do something else? Or what are we gonna do?
So implementation and fidelity is key, right? We have other districts who have gone through it previous year, have literally either maintained the first year or improved their rating a bit, right? Just because it does change is difficult, right? And again, knowing and understanding there's a lot of time invested by during conferences, during PLCs. So we are investing a lot of even PD support. I am hopeful that for next year we will see a very positive change, but we're already seeing it in just what we're seeing in rounds, in instructional rounds, and what they're sharing. Very different discourse from teachers. And yes, it is very time consuming and investing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my last question, when we met here, Trustee Serna and Mr. Nieto and I, with the kids, and we got to talk to them a little bit about, what can we do better as a board to help you guys. And a lot of the comments were positive. My teachers are great. They had nothing bad to say about their schools or their teachers. What was more concerning to them was how do I get along with my friends, or how should I behave around, they're more their minds are more into the social
of course.
scene in order to be able to learn. Well, of course, we know children care more about, we'll learn until they know how much we care, right? So my question, I know that we're doing great we're getting there in the reading and the math. My question is, other than, yes, we're here for student outcomes. This is what the boards are made for, to make sure kids are academically successful. But what are we doing for their, social, emotional health to help them learn in class?
So I know that actually today the Panorama Survey opened up, which gives a lot of great feedback. So in 2 weeks we'll get some results. A lot of good feedback to principals. But some principals, have either the leader in me, some, I know for Selva and Mary Hope, we did Capturing Kids' Hearts, which, they can speak tremendous change, not just for students, but for staff. So they have supports that Dr. Vieira has also provided and rolled out, aside from their curriculum, right, that we purchased for them. So a lot of great feedback and tools and resources, is just utilizing it and turning it around into an action.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Good questions, Mrs. Like that your teacher came out and you. Dr. Jaime?
Yeah, she pretty much covered it all, but just point on the reading, great job, and we're on the right track there, and I know, we won't get too comfortable with that, right, because there's still, a lot of work to do, and on the math, same, with the Blue Bonnet, as Trustee Susaita was mentioning about the concerns early on with that, but change is difficult, and I guess, you talked about what's being done for that and with the PLCs, and is there resources, at-home resources, that help with that, with the students and this new Blue Bonnet curriculum?
So most definitely, and teachers also are producing slides, right, that they use during their classrooms, right? A lot of examples, visuals, right? But more than anything, I think one thing that I want to make clear is that Blue Bonnet is learning mathematics versus a strategy. So it doesn't matter what strategy you use or you choose to use at the end. If you learn the concept, math, right, and you speak the language, you will do well.
Thank you.
Good. Coach Greer?
Along those lines, we hear the same thing, and like at the second grade level, we're supposed to have students that already did this in kindergarten. Well, they didn't do it in kindergarten, or they didn't do it in the first grade. This is the first time that they're seeing this. So to deal with this, what additional training, because I know that we didn't get enough training to really prepare for this. And I go back to something like when Dr. Rivera, when we were building that weight room, and we looked at all kinds of real nice stuff. It looks great. But when we were in there, one of the coaches says, you can go spend $400 on a pair of Nike shoes, but that's not going to guarantee you're going to run a 4.5. So the investment is great, but we want to make sure that it's going to be done correctly and that we get the proper training to effectively, get our students to get a better understanding. Because if a teacher doesn't know what's going on, you're not going to be able to. And I was told a long time ago that if you can't explain something well enough for a first grader, then you don't know it well enough. So my thing is, what additional training to help our teachers, our campuses with our principals and everybody, because I'm sure they're hearing it, and I want to see it work. So what additional training do we have to invest in to make sure that we're going to learn from what we're dealing with right now, to be better prepared for the coming years?
Yes, most definitely, Coach Cuellar. So unlike any other adoption with Blue Bonnet, we started since late November of last year, right, almost a year ago, just presenting the resources and this is what it looks like to our campus leaders, right? Spring semester, we rolled it out again to our campus leaders as we knew that it was going to come from them, the investment and the buy-in before showing it to our teachers. And then, attending webinars, looking at resources, actually diving in. But every 6 weeks, unlike any other adoption, we have training on what's coming next, right? Teachers loved a certain resource that they used to use because every 6 weeks they had an opportunity to go and see what they were going to teach for the 6 weeks and came back to the classroom ready. They have that same opportunity with this resource, plus instructional rounds where they tell them if it's being implemented correctly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Ben Castillo?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I do have a couple questions. At what point of the 6 weeks did our kids do the BOY map testing?
The third week of school.
So that's pretty quick.
Yes, to get more accurate results at the beginning of the year.
Well, they're doing great on the RLA. That's awesome. We got a strong start. Can we go on the slide on the math that has both years BOY?
Yes.
We got a little bit of a dip in second grade. Yeah, I have a kindergartner and a first grader, and I can tell you math homework has been interesting this year. It is kind of a new way of thinking about math. I've noticed it too. But in a way, it's kind of the way that you do math in your head, though, a little bit, where you do 10 plus whatever, but you do add 2. It's interesting. So our kindergartners are going to be in good shape. So I'm worried more about our first and second graders that are used to our old curriculum, and now we're teaching them a new way of doing math. So I guess along the lines of Coach Cuellar, what resources are we going to do there to kind of help them relearn something that they've learned in first and second grade?
So with Region 1 feedback, and Mr. Garlick and Ms. Morales are here also, Dr. Casey, our math elementary coordinator, right? Fidelity to Bluebonnet. Fidelity to Bluebonnet, as they're going to see it over and over and over again. It spirals the teak, something that sometimes other curriculums didn't do. You learned it that first 6 weeks, you move on, you go learn something new until the test comes around. So a repetition of spiraling of teaks and scaffolding.
And with Bluebonnet, it's based off a national curriculum that some school districts were using before, but the biggest complaint at those districts was that it wasn't aligned to teaks. And I'm hoping with Bluebonnet that it's aligned to teaks. So
Yep, it is 100% aligned to the teaks.
So that should help a little
Yes, sir.
bit, yeah, because my wife was the one telling me that at her previous district, they had this curriculum, and yeah, fidelity, but at the end of the day, when the test is coming up, they're just gonna go back to the test, right? And so we shouldn't have that issue with Bluebonnet, right?
Nope. No, one of the biggest concern is I'm not teaching like the drill and kill items. I don't have time for that STAR resource. If students know the concept, they should be able to do well in the test because they know the concept.
When we get the middle of the year results, can you present them kind of like this, the
Most definitely.
last year and
Yes.
this year, so we could see kind of the improvements
Yes.
as well? All right, that's all I got. Thank
Thank you, Mr. Castillo. Coach Serna?
Well, along the same lines, I agree a lot with what Jackie was saying, but also what Ben brought up. But I know in the math, I know you mentioned the concepts, understanding the concepts. Do you see something like is there an area that they're having difficulty with? Is it something that we need to study the data to better equip our teachers with that?
So up until last Friday, when we were in some of the instructional rounds happening, the biggest feedback right now is we're using the entire time, right? As we're still getting comfortable with the curriculum, with the new adoption.
Right.
And there's a lot of teacher talking, right? We want to let more of the students' discourse happen so that we feel confident with and knowing what the students are understanding or not, right? That's the only way we're going to be able to gather that immediate feedback to act on the data, right? Because that's your daily data, right? So it's letting go of the time, right, to
So
show
what's the progress though? Is there progress going on?
Yes.
Do you see?
The more comfortable you feel with the curriculum, the more you will do it, right? So if right now an average lesson should last you anywhere from 50 to 60 minutes and it's lasting us 90, the entire block, it should get better as they become comfortable, right, through the PD sessions. So.
And then lastly, I guess, class counts. Are we good with class counts? Because that's a big part
Yes,
of
sir.
this.
Yes.
We're good. Okay. I guess that's about it. But yeah, some of the things too.
Oh, sorry.
You hit on some of the things. I'm not gonna.
And now that, if I could just real quickly, now that you bring up class counts, I was in here last month when we went over the class size waivers. But I did some homework last week on the class sizes, and I know that you had sent us a list of how many classes were over the limit. And the constraint is the superintendent shall not allow 20% or more.
Yes, ma'am.
And I did find about 3 or 4 that were over 20%. And I'll go over that with you guys later.
Okay.
At some other, I'll email you or something. But just so we can look into that, because I know that, like I've always said it, class size does matter, and if it's not working during the class, I don't know if we're doing tutoring already or like during conference, after school, are we doing that kind of
So
stuff?
we're monitoring the class sizes in all elementaries, but I'm not sure if you're talking about campuses, for the constrained campuses that are performing less than a C.
Yes, less than a
Okay,
C.
got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I went through there and I highlighted the ones that
Okay.
were less, there was 5 of them.
We'll definitely study it and look at it.
Yeah, I'll show you later on, so you can come up over it.
One last thing on, and I know I always look at our special pops. I mean, special ed, are we keeping up with those numbers?
Yes, we are studying that literally as we speak and last week. So we are looking to address every need, sir.
Because honestly, I'm gonna tell you, I trust that you guys are the ones out there in the front lines monitoring and helping our teachers and helping
Most
our
definitely.
instructional leaders.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Nieto, one last thing before you move on to Trustee De Los Santos. With respect, this is an item on consent agenda, so we don't have to pull it, and I have to give Coach Sedna the credit for bringing it to our attention. In 9G1A, it's approval memorandum of understanding between Northbridge Elementary School and Region 1, and in there it has Blue Bonnet. Why are we just doing it with Northbridge and not every elementary?
They were selected to receive a grant as
Okay.
a
And
school.
so it's
Yes.
part of it.
Okay.
Yes. So an additional support.
Okay.
Yes.
I know that our teachers are working very, very hard with this Blue Bonnet implementation, and I want to give them a shout out. I know some are staying up till midnight, 1 in the morning, getting ready for the next day, because they're learning the curriculum as well.
Yes.
And I hope the principals know that, lecture teachers know it doesn't go unnoticed. We know, we hear it out in the community, we see their hard work, and we appreciate them very much.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Good job, Mr. Castillo.
Thank you.
How do I follow up that? How do I follow up that?
I know. Mr. Los Santos?
Well, I can. So, now this is okay. I don't know how to word this. I guess I'm on the same, I was trying to figure out, how do I say this, but I'm just gonna say it. I kind of agree with everyone. We come and we do the LFG meetings, and I think I have progress monitoring and PLC engraved in me, right? And, but this year I'm kind of pivoting on some different things. I have certain goals, right? One's finances, and the other one, of course, that I talked to Dr. Rivera, and I met with him, is our academics, right? So I know we talk about LSG during this time period, but I did talk to Dr. Cito Ramos, and he said you can pivot however needed, and it transgresses, and it all connects. So my main question was kind of there. I would like a presentation, not only on your MAP scores, but I need to know what campuses are the ones that, we know we have some campuses that need some assistance and some help and are transitioning and are going to take a different direction. So where are they at? What are the populations that they have? What's the breakdown at those grade levels, right? And I'm talking mostly middle school and high school, okay? Because I think everybody wants every single campus to be an A, but you want both your flagships, the one you have on the east and the one you have over on this side, both to be A's. So that's what I would like to see as a trustee. Okay, show me how we're going to get an A. Show me what are the campuses we're focusing on. These are the ones that we're helping to level up, and these are the issues that they're having. This is the staff that they're having issues, the student populations are having issues with. What resources do they have, and which ones don't they have? That would be kind of the discussion, right, that I would like as a trustee. I understand the PLCs are there, and understand that administration, what they do on their part. But on a district level, what is your assessment, right? Because that's what I really would want to know. And then especially kids that are funneling into secondaries, okay? Is there, like for me, is there a correlation between, okay, when I'm a middle school and I'm receiving this 6th grade population, right, this cohort, how are they coming to me? Does STAR assessments, are they relevant to, and I know they are because a lot of the campuses are highly successful, but are STAR assessments relevant to their actual 6 weeks performance? Because Blue Bonnet, when you break it down, really it's just like STAR questioning. It's raising the rigor, right, of the questions and the critical thinking of students. So that's what I want to see, because then those students go to then your high school and then your East Campus and whatnot. So in other words, what you see is a pattern in a lot of districts, I'm not saying it's here, is that there's teachers at the middle school, that's what they always say, the burnouts, right, 6 to 8, because they get burned out because they're like, I got to reteach. I got kids coming in not reading on the level. I got kids that don't understand basic fundamental mathematical foundational principles. They have all these things that they're struggling with, right? And I'm not saying that's the case here, but that's the kind of analysis, thought process, and presentation I kind of want to move to. Map's great, but how are we going to get that A, right? Because that's
Yes.
the goal this year, right?
Yes,
A,
sir. 5 points
period.
away.
Yeah, I always tell everybody our community pays top dollar, right? You can do a TASB study. Our staff is the highest paid staff in the Rio Grande Valley. I don't need even the study to tell me because it was like that a few years prior. And I know they are now, right? After all these raises and whatnot. So our community is dropping off their child every single day, and they don't want to B, and they don't want to C. They don't want approaches. They want meets and masters, and they want A's, right? That's the goal. And so what are we doing to meet that requirement, that demand, right? Because we keep coming back and saying more and more and more, and they've held up their end of the bargain. They've come through. And so now this year I'm focusing on what are we gonna do now, right? And so I respect the whole progress monitoring, PLCs, I understand all that.
100%.
But give me, I'm looking for more meat on the bone now, I guess the way to sum it up. Like, what do we do, like, show me, this is the A we need, this is the areas last year that prevented us from making it, this is the populations, or the difficulties, or the resources, or the lack of this, the lack of that they have. And that way, as trustees, then, we can kind of look at the superintendent too and say, hey, sir, we support you in getting them whatever they need, or the list of items.
Yes.
And so we can get that A, right, this year, as a district overall.
Definitely.
And that's kind of where I stand.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll meet with Dr. Rivera and the team to see how we can get you that information and the trustees.
You know, and along those lines, Mark, you know, we talked about how we can tap into the campuses that are doing well and get feedback, you know. Well, I know it's hard to send anybody from a campus to another campus. We're doing again with it. So rather than do that, bring that information to every campus by maybe having KWES make a presentation where they get all this information and put a good program together that can be shared with everybody at the same time. And then we can all be aligned the same way. And the thinking will be, you know, you're gonna hear the same thing at the same time and not from different situations where it changes.
Yes, sir.
So there'll be more consistency with that.
Yes, sir.
I think.
Yes.
Good points. And actually, just food for thought, I was gonna ask Dr. Rivera that, you know, looking at the campuses that did very well, and you all wanna hear what they're doing. So, you know, I know the principals can present, and it doesn't have to be, it could be 5-10 minutes, their presentation of what they're doing, how they're focusing on student engagement and progress monitoring and so forth. We have excellent principals. Not that I'm going to put you on the spot, but I think it's important. That way we can hear it, and other people can hear what they're doing at that campus.
Yeah, and also like the situation too. I know I presented before the boards, and I've taken the time to say this is where I'm at and this is what I need.
Right.
If I need to go out of the district, I need staff because I don't have staff available. Like I would use that time to say these are the resources I'm missing. Kind of like somebody mentioned after school. I would think or tutoring for certain populations. Like you have a very vital asset. You have an ACE program, right? At 21st Century. How it's being used, I don't know. Every single district is different, but that's almost like $1 million in extended day funding that you have there. And if used properly and targeted wisely, you could use that to address special pops and smaller populations after school and things like that. And then plus it's a bonus for the budget as well. And so like those are all, that's kind of, I don't know who mentioned it, but I heard that it clicked. That's almost at 10 elementaries, I think.
And I can tell you that is our extended day for elementary school.
Oh, okay, there you
is
go. Heard me for a minute, look where you at. Okay, then so that's what I'm saying. And then to what level, right? Like, because even in that, there's certain, like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Certain staff, those staffs know the population, the total population on the campus. They understand who the special pops are. They're right in line with principals. They sit in PLCs, grade level meetings, things like that. They do the breakdowns on data. Every district is different, right? So what capacity is your staff at? And then if they're not there, like we utilize CNI or district resources to get them there. So that way, I call it a broom and a sword, right? Are you going to be a broom where I'm going to go get you and look for you when I need you? Or are you going to be a sword where I got you right here, at my left? And that's kind of that mentality there. So building capacity and principals then have another additional resource, especially, with, like I said, the grant funds all that. So
Good
just
points.
food for thought.
Final key points. Progress monitoring, very important. And of course, the training, very important for teachers. Student engagement, that's probably the key in any situation. If you have proper student engagement, your scores are going to increase, whether it's your regular population, your special ed, whatever, where all students are learning and where all students are engaging every day, not just, here and there. But that's very important. And if administrators can monitor that, that's very important. And then, of course, the follow-up. Any other comments, final comments? Jackie?
I'm actually on TEA's website right now on the ratings. There's just so much information. If you just Google TEA ratings and go to those accountability reports, I mean, you can look up any campus, any district, and it gives you so much information, quantitative information, the numbers on the schools. And I'm looking at ours right now from this last year. And I know that this progress monitoring is first and second grade, but I'm looking at the TEA's page that it has on us for student achievement. And I noticed that every campus has a different weight, right, on the percentage. Is that by population, by enrollment?
By number of tests.
By number of
Yeah.
tests.
So
Okay.
our secondary campuses carry about 71 to 72% of the rating here in West.
Yes, that's what I was looking at, because the elementaries, they're at about from 1.9
Yep.
to
Each.
4% each one. But then you get to the middle schools and especially the high schools,
Yes.
and their weight is a lot heavier than the elementaries. But of course, we're sending these elementary kids up, they're the future. But that's very interesting that they have different weights on them. See, I didn't know that. And obviously you guys are the experts, you're the principals, you're the leaders, you know about this way more than what we could ever. This is just I think for me to understand like what you guys are aiming for, and I think for the rest of the board too, just to have these discussions about how do ratings work and how do these scores work. We really need to be knowledgeable on that to be able to even make any decisions, because we're always going to support you guys and we're going to do whatever's best that you guys say. But it's important for us to understand what are we even doing, understand the methodology behind it. But thank you for that presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Castillo, one more comment?
Just thank you, sir, and thank you to Dr. Rivera and Mr. Aguilar and Mr. Solano. I know all this is very hard work and it's extra, but I think it's important. It's important work. You're keeping the board focused as well on what matters. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate Trustee Sustaita as well for starting it while she was board president. And just thank you for all the work. And thank you for updating the website, our Lone Star Governance website. I brag about us to other districts who are looking into getting into LSG, and it's real easy just to pull up our stuff. And all this is online for the community as well. Whoever's interested, they could go look at our data. So I appreciate you guys very much for that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Solano, for good presentation. The next part, superintendent constraints and constraint progress measures.
Oh, that was the public hearing. So.
Right? We
Yes,
don't need to go
that's
over
it.
that, all right?
Right.
8A2, discussion and possible action for the Board of Trustees to consider approval of the Lone Star Governance Board monitoring report for October 2025.
Recommend approval?
So move. Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Ben Castillo, second by Dr. Jaime. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll go to item 9, consent items. You can look through them for a few minutes. We should have already been prepared to make decisions, so as soon as I get to... All right. Any items we need to pull to discuss? Mrs. Sustaita?
None.
Dr. Jaime?
I have none.
Coach Guerra?
None.
Mr. Ben Castillo?
None, sir.
Coach Cerda?
None.
And Mr. Los Santos?
I just have one.
Okay.
9J4A.
9J4A. 9J4A.
Okay. And let me open it, sorry.
Okay. Do I have our approval to approve the consent agenda items except for 9J4A, correct?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Sustaita, second by Mr. Castillo.
Yes, sir.
All in favor, or any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Let's go back to 9J4. Our approval of the interim financial report for the month ended July 31st, 2025. Mr. Los Santos.
Yes. No, just a few things that I got caught up in my conversation during the superintendent's report, but just I don't want yeses or nos. It's just kind of things I'm going to state and put on record that I'd like special interest or focus on, right? Just to verify. And that was something that I hinted on when I talked about the summary of finance report. Okay, looking at state revenue and income that's coming in, and just verifying that as an administration and whatnot. Just taking a look at, and I'm looking at the numbers that were provided, and I'm looking at page 2 in the packet for the trustees.
Yeah.
It was in the packet on page number 2 when it's talking about the general fund balance. So that's all one thing that I like to just kind of put out there is one of them, right? Because I know that that report is very important. There's a preliminary stage, like I said, there's a middle stage, which is near final and then final. I just would really like that reevaluated and looked at. The other thing is something that I think Mr. Robledo already hinted on, that the general ledger hasn't been reconciled yet, right? Or finalized.
For last year,
For 24-25?
we are still in the middle of that.
In that process, okay. That's something that I would like you to, as Dr. Rivera, to kind of look at that process, because it's a very important one. I know you know this, of course, and utilize resources that you have. You understand? I don't know how to stress that enough, that it's important that I think that document gets reconciled as fast as possible. Reconcile, it means that you're doing all the accounting, you're doing the general ledger, the positives and negatives, the backups, and all that kind of stuff that gets put together to create what's called the nasty file, and then it's given to your external evaluators, and that later on will be submitted. The only thing is that's changing, because now it's changing to a 2.0 system. The only reason I know about this stuff, one, is because I went through an internal audit. I'm not even it's a long story, but in 2019 I had to do that. I went through an audit with TEA, so I had to submit the general ledger, and then I had to submit artifacts and verify and go through that whole process. So it kind of was a quick, fast teaching lesson, which wasn't even on my job description, but it's something that I took on. And so I'm familiar with some of those components. So what I'm trying to push here is just that, to please review that and utilize whatever resources you have in the district, whatever it takes to get that done, right? And I don't think I have to go into any more detail about that. It's just, if you got a resource out there that can get it done, utilize it, okay? And also was the construction funds. I wasn't here for the last meeting. I know that the surplus construction funds from non-restricted were moved back into the fund balance, right? I know I only want to do this because of audit purposes, right? So that took board action. And I'm just asking, did you all do board action to move it back, or do we need to do that? Or is it necessary? Because it took board action to move it out and reclassify it, but then it was moved back by the district. I don't know, it may be something you might want to look at. I don't want you to get gigged on that or take a hit there. If we
We'll look at that.
It's a minor thing, it's nothing major.
So we need
But
to bring
it's
it back for approval, we can do
something
that.
like that. And
Can you comment on that one?
It is, so the item about construction funds was part of a budget amendment.
Oh, okay,
So
good.
it's not something that takes board approval, but it is
Okay.
something that is a locally funded action item that we do internally.
Okay, so you don't need a board approval to move it back into the, okay. Okay, bueno, then that was it, so thank you.
So do I have a motion to approve this?
Yes, motion to
item?
approve?
Mr. Los Santos, okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Coach Cuellar. Any other discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Let's go to item 10, discussion items. Update on training, conferences, events, and consider future agenda item requested by the Board of Trustees. Dr. Rivera, that's on the way tonight.
I have one date. On
Okay.
Tuesday morning, November 11th, at our stadium, there's a Veterans Day program. I think at 9 o'clock, Mr. Butterman? 9?
10 a.m.
10, okay.
Our board secretary will
Yes.
notify us
Yes.
of that event. So if anybody can make it, you can make it. All right.
Mr. Nieto, I have a future agenda item request, if that's okay.
Okay.
Just for us to consider, I know the city of Weslaco is looking into building a sub-fire station and police station by Klecker.
Correct.
Could we have an item soon to have discussion about potentially selling that land to the city?
Yes.
I'd like, let's support him on that one as well, too.
Okay. Dr. Rivera, you'll have it on the next
Yes,
Correct.
for November.
Okay.
Mr. Nieto, a question. When are we going to schedule again, either with the teachers or the kids, the advisory council or whatever we want to call it?
Good point. Now, originally, for information for all principals and of course staff, the school board student advisory committee, we had one meeting. We're gonna have 4 during the year, every quarter. So possibly, and I always look at discussion with the principals to see when it's appropriate, but they're not benchmark testing or whatever. We'll have another one coming up in either late October or November. And then again in February, and then again in March or April, depending again on testing.
Okay.
So 4 times during the year. And FYI, of course, Jackie brought some points up on what they mentioned, some very good points. And she mentioned mental health. That was one of the things that they put on there that they needed. They also put on there that they needed more, or actually faster internet at some of the classrooms. You know, like there were some classrooms that the internet works fine, but there was other classrooms that maybe it wasn't as fast. But some of the things that they said, like Ms. Jackie mentioned, they were very positive about teachers, very positive of decorating of the schools, but they also wanted teachers that motivate them and encourage them to do well. But also, they got to take it back to the principal. I'm working on all the questions, answers that they responded. So that information they're going to take back to the principals. They probably already did, but one of the things I told them, and Mrs. Sustaita and Coach Serna were there, things that we discussed there, they're going to bring it back to you. So that way you can implement or do whatever you need to do at the campus. It was a good committee. How many were 36?
Yeah.
Somewhere around about 36. So as soon as I get with Dr. Rivera, and of course he'll talk to the principals, when we will have it again.
Okay.
You know?
Now, we don't even mind, I mean, I don't know how it works at the schools, but I wouldn't even mind going to the schools and sitting,
Yes.
you know, at a table with whatever kids you guys want to give us. Because I know it's a hassle having to bring them here, and
Right.
it was a lot of transportation, the buses, so it's easier for us to go to the schools. We can also do that.
Very true.
What,
That's something that do. And then the next one that I don't think I have that mentioned to Dr. Rivera. I actually mentioned it at there.
Mm-hmm.
No, I actually mentioned it at Employee Benefits Committee, a parent advisory board, parent from each school, similar to this student committee. You know, that way we can get, and I told the committee, and it's not to talk about the traffic, it's not to talk about, it was talk about academics.
line.
Academics, what is it we need to do to provide for the teachers, the staff, the students? What is it that they need so they can be successful? And I think a lot of times parents will tell you, you know, what is they need. Mr. Castillo, right there, a parent. You know, if he was part of the committee, he would bring up those things with academics. Because our focus should be on academics. If we don't have students, we don't have jobs. Dr. Rivera used to mention that all the time. So those are things coming up, but that's a good point. We can do that, and I think I had mentioned it before, that we would go to the campus too. We'll meet maybe the 2 at that particular campus and include some others. And then try to go make a run to each campus. That would be great if we could do that.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
Mr. Nieto, on
Yes.
if you do include the parents, I think set of ground rules ahead of time
Correct.
so that they don't waste too much time thinking of all the negative stuff that
Correct.
goes on. And let's focus on the positive.
Exactly. Good points.
Even if it's, I'm thinking during award, just a quick, you know, you get a lot of parents at the awards assemblies when you start doing that. Just a quick little hello, we're the school board, either 1 or 2 or 3 of us. We were here to, you know, be your partners for your child's education. Just give us a couple of minutes with them during the awards, and that would go a long way, I think.
Okay.
If you could do that.
Good. All right. Let's see, where am I at now? Discussion of possible action items, none, correct?
None.
None? Okay, number 12, closed meeting. 12A, discussion regarding superintendent's recommendation of contracts for certified personnel, non-certified personnel or professional, and non-contractual personnel. 12A2, discussion regarding resignations, retirements of certified professional, non-certified professional, and non-contractual personnel. Consultation with attorney regarding pending or contemplated litigation, settlement offer. 12B, matter in which the duty of the attorney of the Weslaco Independent School District under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, Texas Government Code 551-071. 12B4, discussion and consideration regarding cost number CL 242115J, Megan Rios versus Weslaco ISD in the County Court at Law number 10 of Hidalgo County. And 12B5, discussion and consideration regarding cost number C 249124E, Maria Herrera versus Weslaco ISD in the 275 Judicial District Court of Hidalgo County, Texas. It is 7:21, and we will go into closed session. 8:26. And we reconvene in open meeting.
Call your office.
Possible action if necessary in items discussed in closed meeting. 13A1, discussion of possible action regarding superintendent's recommendation of contracts for certified professional, non-certified professional, and non-contractual personnel. Dr. Rivera.
Recommend approval?
Move to approve.
We have a
Second.
We have a motion by Coach Cuellar, a second by Dr. Jaime. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 13A2, discussion of possible action regarding resignations, retirements of certified professional, non-certified professional, and non-contractual personnel. Dr. Rivera.
Recommend approval?
Move to approve.
Second?
We have a motion by Coach Cuellar, a second by Mrs. Sustaita. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 13A3, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding cost number C 2491-24E, Maria Herrera versus Weslaco Independent School District in the 275 Judicial District Court of Hidalgo County, Texas.
No action on this one, Mr. Board President.
No action? Okay. And 13A4, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding cost number CL 2421-15J, Megan Rios versus Weslaco ISD District in the County Court of Law, number 10 of Hidalgo County, Texas.
Mr. Board President, I move to authorize the superintendent to take action as discussed in closed session.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Castillo and second by Dr. Jaime, correct?
Dr. Jaime.
Yes. All in favor of this motion, please say, no, I got lost. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Adjournment.
So moved.
All right. It is 8:28.